Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present the Minuteman FY25 recommended budget and assessment. Um, when we think about preparing our budget, we always try and make sure our budget priorities reflect our values, that being those of our staff and students, aiming for their success. As we talk about Lexington students specifically, of the 16 graduates, 14 went on to 2 and 4 year colleges. You'll see some of these colleges listed. Two went right into the workforce. Of the 82 students attending Lexington, they are represented in all 19 of our Minuteman program majors that we offer. And we currently have 12 students that are out on co-op. When we look at the Lexington assessment that's being recommended, the total amount is $3,406,394, of which $758,000 is related to the project debt service. When we look at the overall budget, operating and capital, $31,517,219, and this is about 3.9% above FY24. And when we break it down between the categories, our actual operating budget is less than 3% at 2.99 increase. Our capital recommendation of $1,665,008 is up significantly over FY24. We'll elaborate that as we go through the process. And the building project debt recommendation of roughly $5.7 million is 1.36% above FY24. So when we look at how this impacts assessments, our overall FY25 assessments to member towns is $25,689,923, which is 0.82% above FY24. I should note that that's not a typical increase in assessments. There is some anomalies that came up as part of the budget process that we want to point out, just to be full disclosure on what's driving that assessment. So some of the when we look at our budget, we have some salary considerations that we have to take as it relates to our collective bargaining agreement going up. We did reduce a couple of administrative positions, and we brought back in 3 positions that were reduced as part of COVID adjustments, and we funded through grants, but we're recommending we bring those back. We did add a foreign language teacher because of the demand for the subject matter in FY24. We're carrying that in FY24, and because of the requirements of the MIAA regulations, as well as the high number of participation that we're seeing with our student athletes, we are funding an athletic trainer position. Some of the other non-salary drivers are bus transportation contract, 5% CPI increase pursuant to the contract, as well as an additional late bus so that students can participate in clubs or extra help for homework and things of that nature. Our utilities are basically decreased given our FY23 actuals. We're also able to level fund our health insurance, primarily due to the fact that in FY24 we were expecting a 10% increase, and that did not materialize. It was zero funded. So this will allow us to fund an increase of what we're expecting to be somewhere around 8%. We're also investing in cybersecurity. This is an area that we want to be very mindful of, given what's going on out there. We've made an investment in that to ensure the integrity and the redundancy of our technology. We did increase our funding for our capital stabilization fund. We noted that in one of the earlier slides, that the increase that's going related to capital, and we're funding $850,000 this year towards the fund. That's about $350,000 more than we typically have. We've been funding that for the last number of years at $500,000, but by funding this at this level, will allow us to reach a balance of about $3 million, and it will allow us to expand and maintain the potential use of the campus. While by planning this funding will mitigate increases in future assessment costs. We have also, for our debt service related specifically to the athletic fields, we are not assessing that to the member towns through the facilities revolving account. The revenue we generate through the rental activity in that account will be used to apply to some of the debt service and other operating costs. And we're also contributing $315,000 into our OPEB account. This graph illustrates our overall enrollment as of October 1st of last year. You'll see the total enrollment is 686 students, of which 649 come from member towns. Non-member town students are 37. They're mostly upperclassmen as they work their way through their programs. You can see the trend over the last number of years where you see the increase in the red line showing how in-district enrollment has increased over the last 5 or so years. This gives you a breakdown by town. Lexington currently has 82 students that are enrolled in the school. What we're seeing is, because of that trend, we're seeing a shift in enrollment where more of our students are in-district students. And as a result, we're starting to see the out-of-district enrollment decrease, which means that the tuition and capital fee revenue that we collect relating to the attendance of those students will be decreasing moving forward. And the net result of that from a fiscal perspective is that with the reduction in revenue, overall assessments to member towns will increase over the next couple of years. And these just give you a sense of the magnitude of the numbers that we're losing, both in special education fee and capital fee from out-of-district students, as we're projecting it based on our current enrollment right now. This is a summary of the preliminary assessments. The left-hand side gives you the dollar amounts and the change. The right-hand side gives a comparison of the 4-year rolling average from this fiscal year to next, and the percent change. You can see that there is not necessarily a direct relationship, but a major driver between how the 4-year rolling average increases and how that's reflected on the assessment as well. You can see this year that Lexington's assessment is decreasing by about 2.73%, even though the 4-year rolling average is up 7.6%. This is just a summary giving you sort of the change in assessments over the last 4 years, and you can see that trend in assessments has bounced around primarily due to the 4-year rolling average. When we talk about future assessment impacts, I want to make sure that we're clear that the 0.82% increase in assessments is not a typical assessment that people can plan on moving forward. Part of the reasons why it was so low this year is because we ended up receiving more of Chapter 70 state aid in FY2024 than we had actually budgeted for. So we did receive more aid this fiscal year. I met with the town administrators and town managers and decided to use those excess funds to apply against the small balance we have remaining on our MSBA project. So we made good use of that to avoid future borrowing. But again, as mentioned in the prior slide, the declining out-of-district tuition and capital fee revenue will increase member assessments. And what we're seeing is the first year implementation of using the revolving fund to pay the debt service on the athletic fields. That's causing a one-time decrease in assessments. That'll normalize over time, so you won't see the effect of that. We do have a building on our campus. It's the East Building. It's been used in the past for classroom space for private schools as well as a child care center. It's currently unoccupied right now. We'd like to use a portion of it. It's a 16,000 square foot building. We'd like to renovate up to 7,000 square feet to accommodate our animal science program. The animal science program is in its third year right now, and we're using a temporary location on another building we have on campus as a temporary location. But we do feel as though we need to make the investment to make that program meet the potential that program actually has. So part of the reason why we're putting aside the capital stabilization money is, in fact, to renovate this building, as well as some other areas of the facility, such as the exterior structure, roof, and utilities. So we just want to make sure it's not in a state of decline and that we're using it for educational purposes. We're hopeful that we'll be able to seek additional funding through grants that will also supplement this. But the $3 million that we're setting aside in the capital stabilization fund is primarily earmarked for this purpose. I want to make it clear, however, that this work will not add additional seats or enrollment capacity, but rather enhance a current program that we currently offer. That concludes our comments for tonight. Nikki Andre, the school business administrator, is here to answer your questions, and you may also refer to the Finance Committee warrant report, which has done a comprehensive review of our budget. So with that, I thank you for your time. Feel free to ask questions.